Hey everybody, this is Kennedy Hawk. We are going to go through our second deck of the week. This week we are playing Miss Marvel Protection, which is quite a disgusting thing for me to say because I usually rag on Miss Marvel quite a bit and rag on green cards. So we're going to see if we can take two negatives and make them into a positive, and we will see how it goes. So let's shuffle our deck. We are getting set up here against Standard Absorbing Man, and I am going to do something really quick. I am going to turn off those snap points because they just kill me for some reason, and I just cannot get over it. There they go. They're all gone. Okay. So we're still looking for an environment. You just saw that I have Legions of Hydra in there, so that's exciting for everybody. And here we go. We have the Rocky Outcrop. Let's read what that one does really quick. After you have an undefended attack, which hopefully we don't have a ton, he is going to heal one. That is the one we care about the least, so that is kind of perfect. And we are ready to go here, drawing 6 cards. Now the point of this deck is to use Fighting Fit a ton, right? So we're going to see right away that Fighting Fit can be really, really good in this Marvel. But it's even better when you get Embiggen out there. So we really need to get Embiggen into play to make that worthwhile. We are going to throw some things away. We're going to throw away a Mockingbird because we don't need her yet. We're going to throw away this Endurance and this Sneak By and this Starhawk. Endurance is great, but we've got 3 copies in the deck, so hopefully we'll draw into another one, and we do right away, so not a big deal at all. So this is pretty cool. With this setup right now, we can flip, we can Fighting Fit for 5, we can Exhaust and play it again for 5, and we can play Endurance, setting up Fighting Fit for the future. Plus, we get some Teen Spirit to change our mind. So let's get that done with right away. We are Teen Spiriting for a Miss Marvel card, and we get Wiggle Room, which is just perfect. All right, so we are going to flip. We're going to Power Protection to play Fighting Fit. Deal 2 damage to the villain. Deal 5 if your hit points are equal to or greater than your starting hit points, which they are. So we're going to deal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if we had Embiggen out there, that would be 7, which is just crazy. We're going to Exhaust Miss Marvel to bounce that back to our hand. We've seen all 3 momentum shifts go by, but that's mainly there to heal yourself so that you can play Fighting Fit. We're going to use this Sneak By to play an Endurance, just giving ourselves even more wiggle room for that Fighting Fit combo, and we're going to keep this wiggle room in hand. So there you have it. That was the first turn. 10 damage and an Endurance. Not too bad. We're going to get 1 threat out here on the main scheme. We're going to place 1 delay counter, and he is going to swing at us for 2 plus something. We're not going to defend yet, because we can use wiggle room, which now counts as a defense, which turns off this undefended attack nonsense. So he is swinging for 1, 2, 3. If he has stone or wood, you become stunned, and he does have stone, so that's a bit of a bummer. We're going to become stunned. We are going to wiggle room out of it, so we take no damage, and he doesn't heal 1, and we draw a card. And we are not going to bounce the wiggle room back to our hand for now. We've got 1 extra card here, and it is a Steel Kick. If you were in hero form, take 3 indirect damage, 4 if he has the metal trait, but he doesn't, so look just like that. We're still at full health. Everything's fine. All right, so what are we going to do here now? We are going to clear stunned right away. Let's get that out of there. I think we're just going to take a breather here, and we're going to play Red Dagger, who's going to thwart for 2. We're going to flip and Teen Spirit an Amir into play, so we will play Amir, and we'll use his action to place 1 card from your discard pile on the bottom of your deck, and then draw a card. Here's our discard pile. So we are going to put that Fighting Fit back onto the bottom of our deck, because that's like our combo piece here. And if we get the chance to do that again, we'll place a Power Protection down there with it. And we drew Bruno. I guess we'll use Clea to play Bruno as well, and just get set up for the future. So we are readying everybody up and drawing 6 cards. All right, so here we've got our Fighting Fit again. We're going to be at 10, so we could Fighting Fit. We still don't have Embiggen out, unfortunately. Hopefully we get it from our top deck here. So we've got 1 threat going in the main. He is going to scheme for 1, 2. That's 2 more threat. We've got 1 encounter card, which is his Ball and Chain. So he now has a Ball and Chain. And here we go. We're going to Teen Spirit. We get a Sneak By, not an Embiggen. What a bummer. But I still think it's worthwhile to do some stuff. We are going to place a Power of Protection onto the bottom of our deck, because that combos really well with the Fighting Fit we placed down there. And we're going to remember those are on the bottom, so we don't Teen Spirit them away, hopefully. All right, so we drew Embiggen with our Amir Khan, so that is great. We're going to use Endurance and this Sneak By to put Embiggen down onto the field. We're going to flip to Miss Marvel form, and what's the best way to do this? I think we are going to, let's see, we can hit for 4 and then hit for 7. So I think we will Fighting Fit for 5, actually, is what that works out to be. That is going to flip him to the next stage and bring out super absorbing power. So he now has all the powers all the time. Oh no. Not too worried, because hopefully we just get rid of him almost this turn entirely. So he's back up to 15. We're going to exhaust Miss Marvel to bounce that Fighting Fit back to hand. And that one was just a flat 5. So we can pay 1, 2 for another Fighting Fit. This one we're going to Embiggen so that it hits for 7. We have a first hit. If we had one more resource, we could pop him for 2 more, but we'll just save that for next turn because that can be a 4 with Embiggen, which is probably going to seal the game for us. And Red Dagger will hit for 2. So that was our turn. I think he's technically has 2 delay counters right now, so we're going to draw 4. And you can see here we've got 2 first hits. That's 6 damage with our Embiggen, and then we could hit for 2 more with Red Dagger and just end it. So that's what we're going to try to do. But first, he is going to attack us with 3 attack. We're going to defend with this guy, obviously. So he is going to put this into play. That would place threat, but we don't have to worry about that because we're not undefended. Red Dagger is defeated, so we can spend 2 resources of different types, which we will certainly do. 1, 2. To bounce him to hand and deal 2 damage. And I hit him down to 8, and then Red Dagger hit him for 2. Okay, so that's why he's down to 6. Perfect. We get 1 encounter card here, and it is a Surge, bring out a new environment. So this is the take an indirect damage one. And the second one is something if you have metal. We do not have metal, so that's good. But we are going to take 3 indirect damage. That's a bit of a bummer because we're now underneath that threshold for Fighting Fit. But we've got all those momentum shifts and a really big recover, so we can hopefully Fighting Fit quite a ton. Either way, right now it's our turn to go, so we can use Red Dagger to play first hit. We can Embiggen it for 4. Bingo bango. We could bounce that first hit back to hand and play another first hit and keep 1 in hand, or we could just not bounce that one, ping for 1, and do another first hit for 2. Either way, I think he ended up with 3 delay counters there total. That is Miss Marvel bonkersness protection. Hey, we are back for our second game with Deck of the Week this week. Again, this is Miss Marvel Protection, and we're going to try to go against someone a little bit harder. We're going to go against Taskmaster. So every time we flip, we're going to take a little bit of damage. It's going to be harder to keep those Fighting Fits activated with this ability, especially since Miss Marvel wants to flip so often. So we are going to get all set up here. We've got our captured minions out. We're just doing the standard setup here. So we've got Standard, Weapon Master, and Hydra Patrol already in play. Someone asked last week why I'm doing standard run-throughs. I think I can have a lot of fun with standard, just trying out different decks. Lets me record my games faster and curate them faster, and I think that you can still test a deck pretty well on standard. That doesn't mean it's going to perform like super well on expert, but most decks, especially if you're playing multiplayer, which is what I tend to do a lot of when I'm not recording, work really well in standard, then they'll work well in multiplayer, Ronin and Nebula aside. So playing in standard just because that makes the recording a little bit more enjoyable, a little bit more casual, a little bit more fun. So we are going down against Taskmaster. Let's get set up here. We're going to draw our 6 cards. And remember, we want Embiggen right away, so that is really good. I don't mind having Nakia at all, but I don't really need Mockingbird, and I don't read Sneak By, so I'm going to discard those 2. And we got a momentum shift. That's a little unfortunate. We'd much rather have a Fighting Fit than a momentum shift, but we do have a big hands to play with our Embiggen turn 1, so not the end of the world. And we're going to get underway. So we are going to Teen Spirit, a Poly Suit. That is great. We are going to play our Embiggen. We're going to play our Nakia, reduce the cost for our suit. So we can flip. That is going to mean we take some damage. We could afford to sit here for a turn, but with big hands in hand, I don't really want to waste it. So I'm going to flip and trigger Taskmaster's ability. I haven't shuffled this yet, but I just got the top card from the encounter deck, and I take damage equal to its boost icons, which is 0, so that's great. And then over here, after resolving step 1 of the villain phase, each hero chooses to place a threat or take a damage. We're going to be doing a lot of placing a threat. So we are going to Polymorph Suit and Power Protection 8 Big Hands for 6 damage. And you know what? We'll bounce it just because we can, just to be ready for next turn in case we need that. Drawing 4 cards. All right, and we did get a Fighting Fit, so that's going to let us Fighting Fit for 7. Bounce it, play it again for another 5. 12 damage in hand is pretty dang good for turn 2. So 1 threat is going to go on here. We have to choose to place the threat or take a damage. We're going to place the threat, obviously. He's going to come swinging at us for 2, and unfortunately, maybe we don't get to play Fighting Fit because we don't have a Wiggle Room in hand, and we didn't play any allies. So we're not going to defend, we're just going to take it, and we're going to take 3 damage. So without an Endurance, Fighting Fit actually kind of failed us that turn, but hopefully we get to the point where we get to play it again. All right, so he is going to get a Combat Knife, and it is going to go back to our turn. So let's see what we want to do here. So I don't really like playing Fighting Fit for 4 damage. That sounds really bad. So we're going to play First Hit instead for 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll bounce that back to our hand. I think we're going to play this Shrink so that we can use it in the future. And I think we'll just, do we want to hit him to the next phase? I think what we'll do is we'll hit him with a First Hit again for just 2. And we're going to flip down. We've used our Embiggen already. We're going to flip down and use Teen Spirit. For a Wiggle Room, that'll be good for the future. And we're going to pitch this Big Hands because we want to get an Endurance down. We threw that 1 Endurance away and it never came back, or maybe that was last game. I can't even remember at this point. All right, so 1 threat going in the main. He is going to scheme for 1, 2. Not the end of the world. And we've got 1 encounter card coming to us. It's Insight 1. Each player in hero form takes 1 damage that discards 1 random card from their hand. But we're not in hero form, so that is great. Other than the Insight 1 with the Crisis out there, I'm not a super big fan of that. All right, well, we do have Momentum Shift. That's really good. We didn't get an Endurance again, which is kind of frustrating, but we'll see if we can get one. Let's play an Amir, and then let's search in here. Do we have an Endurance in our discard? We don't. I'm going to put a Fighting Fit on the bottom then. And then top deck, an Endurance. Woo, look at that. I mean, there's 3 in there. There was a pretty good chance. I kind of want to keep this Sneak by, although it's not super helpful until I get rid of the main, until I get rid of this Crisis one. What do we do? What do we do? So we could heal to full, but then we can't Momentum Shift, which I'm not a big fan of. So I think we're going to use Big Hands to play Endurance. That pops us up to 10 health. We'll flip. Did I Teen Spirit already? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 is from Amir. So we need to Teen Spirit still. Okay, into a Sneak by. We will flip, and now we've got to decide what we want to do. So we could Momentum Shift for 2, or we could ping him and then Momentum Shift, damage onto him, and heal. We have Wiggle Room in hand. If he gets an advance, we could be in trouble, though. Oh, and when we flip, we start taking damage, right? So we're going to take 1 damage. So yeah, we aren't at full, which I really don't like. So I think we'll do that. What we'll do is we will hit him for 1. That's going to ping him to the next phase. So we are dealt an encounter card. He goes back up to 16 health. And then we're going to Momentum Shift with an Embiggen. So that's going to heal us for 2 and hit him for 4. And we're going to Sneak by this away. Do I want to do that? Maybe I just leave that out there. You know what? I think I'm just going to toss my Sneak bys and live dangerously here because I have a Wiggle Room in hand, and I would rather not bring a minion out who's going to punch me in the face. So we're going to draw 4. All right, we did not get a Fighting Fit or any attack events. That is a bummer. He's going up to 9. He's going to come swinging at us for 3 plus something, and we do have Wiggle Room. So it's 3, 4. We'll play Wiggle Room, just draw a card. We'll exhaust to bounce Wiggle Room, and we'll play it again. So we don't take any damage, and we draw 2 cards. Unfortunately, we did not draw a Fighting Fit. Bummer. Okay, And then it is encounter card time. We've got 2 encounter cards to deal with. So we've got Hydra Hunter and a Hydra Soldier. So we're getting minions either way. We should have just blew this up. Bummer. Okay. What are we going to do here now? We've already gotten Endurance out here. I kind of want to get Iron Fist out onto the board. First things first, let's Polymer Suit and Embiggen 4 damage into this guy, giving us an encounter card. Oh no, this is only to the villain, right? So we can't do that yet. We gotta find something that can damage minions to do stuff like that. And we don't have any of that. Bummer. Alright, let's pay 2 for an Iron Heart, I think. That might leave us short of playing Iron Fist, but I think we gotta do it. We're gonna pay 2 for an Iron Heart and draw a card. We get a Starhawk, that's pretty good. If we flip, we could play Iron Fist, stun one of these guys. We can't really afford to flip unless we're going to kill everything and thwart, which is probably not going to happen. So what do we do? What do we do? I think we just got to play Starhawk here. These 2 could thwart and bring out another minion, and then we could block the minions. Is that what we do? I think that's what we do. Let's get rid of this Crisis. There's the encounter deck and discard pile for a Hydra minion. If there's even any left. There's plenty left. It gets put into play, so we'll bring that guy in. It's not the end of the world. We'll pitch Iron Fist for better days. And we obviously can't afford to flip, so we're not going to. And we are drawing up 5 cards. So 1 threat going on, and we're going to take a damage this time. We can't afford really not to. We'll put it on the main scheme and hope we don't get an insight. It's probably a bad choice based on how much insight we just saw in the villain deck. All right, he's going to swing at us for 3, and we are going to Wiggle Room first, so that will draw us a card. Well, I guess we see what he flips first. So he is hitting for 5. We will Wiggle Room twice and draw 2 cards. Seems good. We've now got minions that are going to be attacking us. So first, this one's going to hit for 2, and we will have Starhawk defend, which will bounce him back to hand. No first hits in there. This guy's going to hit for 2. This guy's going to hit for 2. So we're going to end up taking 2, and we will let Ironheart absorb 1 of those. We've got 1 encounter card. We get a free flip, and we discard a Persona support, which is totally fine because we don't super need Nakia right now. I mean, I'd like to have Nakia out there, but not the end of the world for me. Okay, so let's Teen Spirit away all our good cards. And let's flip and decide if we want to, well, let's use a mirror to put something on the bottom of our deck and draw a card. We'll just go ahead and put a first hit on the bottom there, because we know we're going to have that next turn, and draw the other card, which is another Fighting Fit. So we are going to flip. We've got a ton of damage to do, and we'll see if we can get it all done. So first things first, we're going to pay 2 for a Momentum Shift, and we are going to embiggen this Momentum Shift. So we're going to heal 2 and deal 4 to this guy. That is going to deal us an encounter card from an attack. So we are now at our starting health. So these Fighting Fits will hit for, 5? We've got to do 12 damage. So we could do 2 Fighting Fits, and that's about it. So not quite enough to get that job done. Let's see here. We could pay 1, 2 for the first 5. We could pay 2 more for the next 5. And then we're short from being able to play an ally. So I don't think we're going to play both Fighting Fits, but we'll definitely play one of them. So 1, 2 for a Fighting Fit for 5. I think we would like to play Red Dagger because he can thwart for more and he can block things. So Red Dagger is going to come into play. He's going to thwart for 2. And we took some damage actually as Kamala when we flipped. So that Fighting Fit only hit for 2, unfortunately, because we took 1 damage. That is quite a bummer. Got to remember that on that flipping. And that's where we are. What is this card doing here? Oh, that's a mirror. Yeah, we used him this turn already. We used Embiggen. We used We didn't use shrink, but that's okay. All right, here we go. We are drawing 4 cards. We know we're going to get lots of extra encounter cards this turn. See if we can survive. 1 threat go out on the main. We're going to take a damage with the second one. He's coming at us for 3 plus something, and we're going to block with Red Dagger. So 3, 4. Red Dagger is going to bounce back to hand because we are going to spend Starhawk and Sneak By. And then he's going to deal 2 to this guy to get rid of him. This guy then hits us for 2, kind of expected. And we've got 3 encounter cards here. So first we have one of those. That's probably not going to happen because it's just too late in the game at this point. We've got another sidearm for Taskmaster. And after a minion enters play, it gets a tough status card, but hopefully no more minions enter play. That's the idea, at least. All right, so we got to do 10 damage, and we do not have a ton of stuff in our hand to deal that damage. So let's see what we can do. Technically, all of these are upright. So we could first hit for 4, and then we could momentum shift for 2, and first hit for another 4 if we bounce it with Miss Marvel. That is not 10 damage. That is real close, but not quite there. And I don't know if anything else is really going to be better. I mean, we could play Red Dagger and thwart some. That might be the right answer. First things first, let's first hit for 4. Let's play Red Dagger. We obviously can't afford to flip at this point, but Red Dagger can thwart for 2 off the main because we really need to hit that. I think Miss Marvel's just going to punch for 1. And we'll go forward from there. Drawing 5. All right, so 1 threat going on the main. Miss Marvel's going to take a damage, and then we've got 1 more threat from this Captured by Hydrocide scheme. So he's hitting us for 4 plus something. Obviously, Red Dagger is here just for that. 4, 5. We could pay 2 resources of different types, which to decide if we want to do. I think we will, because that lets us punch him for 2 and bounce Red Dagger back to hand. We've then got this guy hitting us for 2 and 1 encounter card, which is Mimicry. Discard the top 5 cards of your deck. If an attack is discarded this way, we are going to get attacked. We are probably going to get attacked. Although maybe not. Wow. Wow. Okay. Well, with like 10 attack events in our deck, I am quite shocked, but I will take it. And it becomes our turn. We've got it here now. We can just momentum shift and embiggen it. So we're going to heal for 2. We're going to throw 4 damage at Taskmaster. Tasky is gone and dead. Probably a couple of missed triggers in that game. I apologize for that. I'll try to watch it and put them in the comments. But pretty fun game. I didn't really get my fighting fits off nearly as much against Taskmaster. So this is where multiplayer would help a lot because other people could be tanking some of those minion hits for me. Endurance and momentum shift did a lot of work, but a lot of that flipping really just slowed me down a little bit. But still a pretty fun deck. All right, we are back at it. A 3rd game this week for Deck of the Week with Miss Marvel Protection, and this time we are going up against none other than Rhino. And this is going to challenge us in 2 ways. So Rhino has 1 scheme with a really low threshold, so we can't really afford, like with Taskmaster and Absorbing Man, we just let that threat pile up and kind of ignored it until the end. Can't really do that, so we're going to have to spend some resources playing Sneak By and things like that. Also, Rhino has really big attacks, right? With Charge, with Ivory Horn, and eventually a base stat of 3 in Standard. We're going to be taking damage, so we need to find ways to maneuver around that damage and keep ourselves healthy so that Fighting Fit can trigger, and we're going to see if we can do so. So, drawing our initial 6 cards, we did get a Wiggle Room, which is great. We got a Fighting Fit, which is not too bad early on, but it's a lot better if we get a Momentum Shift, or not a Momentum Shift, a Embiggen. So I am going to discard pretty heavily for Embiggen and hope we get one. We don't, but we get a lot of setup, so I'm not going to be too upset. And here we go. So let's Teen Spirit here for a Shrink. That is not the one we needed, but we will not scoff at that. We will play an Amir, and we're going to put that Fighting Fit onto the bottom of our deck and hope that we're healthy enough to play it when we finally reach ourselves there. And draw a card. It is Perseverance. That's really, really good right now. We will, I don't think we need to play Bruno or Shrink right now. So we're going to pay 4 for Iron Fist, who's going to come with 2 Mystic counters. An Iron Fist is just going to go to face right away and get one stunned out there. I think this is really dangerous against Rhino. I'm going to spend a turn in alter ego form. Get my polymer suit out, and I'm just going to sit here. He's stunned, so I guess I could flip. You know what? I'll flip, and I'll just pop him for 1. I was going to spend a turn in alter ego form just to draw 6 cards, but with him stunned, I may as well take advantage of that and not let him thwart. All right, so here we go. We've got our Fighting Fit, so that can do 5. We could do 5 twice just with what's in our hand. We don't have our Embiggen still, which is what's really annoying, but we'll get there. So he's getting 1 threat. He is stunned. I should shuffle this deck for sure. And he's got a dumb enhanced Ivory suit. Well, that's annoying, but not the end of the world for us because we are Miss Marvel, right? So we're going to pay 1, 2. We'll do 2 this way for a Fighting Fit. That's going to hit him for 5 and get rid of that suit. We're not going to bounce it. We don't need to worry about that yet. Actually, we will bounce it just for money. And then we're going to pay 1, 2 for an Ironheart, who's going to draw us a card. We will thwart for 1, hit for 3 and a stun with Iron Fist. And we're going to flip down, and we are going to Amir first. So let's Amir a... let's not Amir first. Let's Teen Spirit first. Oh, it's Wiggle Room. Wiggle Room's the one we get. We're going to spend Power of Protection to play Unflappable, and then put that on the bottom with Amir and draw a card. We get another Perseverance, which we really don't need right now, but that's okay. And we're going to ready up. So I am going to dump this Perseverance and draw 5, because I'm really looking for that Embiggen, which I still did not get, but we're getting close to like being all the way through our deck, so it's got to be coming up soon. Here's the risk time. He's going to get 1 threat. He's going to scheme for 1, 2, and then he gets an encounter card, which is an advance. Oh gosh, he's going to scheme for just 1 more. Those are the palpitations. It's bad. I'm alive. Don't worry, everybody. All right. We're going to Teen Spirit into a stupid red dagger. It's not what we wanted. Let's throw another Fighting Fit on bottom. So the bottom of our deck is Fighting Fit, 2 Fighting Fits, and a Power of Protection. We're drawing a card. It is not Embiggen again. Let's flip. We can't afford to do all this garbage anymore. Let's Polymer Suit for 2. Punch, punch. He is stunned, so I don't have to worry about much at all. We're going to pay 1, 2, 3 for a red dagger. Let's get some of this threat off of here so we can do 1, 2, 3 and get Iron Fist back into our discard pile for future use. We don't really want to flip him because we know Breaking and Taken is going to come out, but we can pay 2 for Big Hands to hit him for 4, getting him really, really close so that Ironheart can finish him off next turn if she needs to. I guess Miss Marvel will thwart. She's got nothing else to do. And we'll ready up and draw our 5. No Embiggen still. What is going on here? So, 1 threat going on the main. He is stunned, and our encounter card is a Hydra Guard Mercenary. Not a big deal for us at all. So let's see. Could we kill him if we flip? If we had an Embiggen, maybe, but we don't. So we can Fighting Fit for 5. We could Big Hands for another 2, or for another 4. So that would hit him for 9, 10, and 11, 12 with Miss Marvel attacking. So not quite dead, but we can also, I still think, pop him. I guess we got to hit this guy for 3 first. So let's just go ahead and play Big Hands for 3 and bounce it, or for 4 and bounce it, killing that guard minion. We'll have Ironheart finish off Rhino, revealing the next stage. So we're going to get Breaking and Taken out here. We have Doomsday Chair in here. We haven't seen any Doomsday Chair tech yet, so that's coming up. Great. And he's got 15 health that we have to get rid of. We are not going to be able to do that all this turn, but we're going to see what we can do. Ironheart's going to go away. This has 3 threat on it, and we really don't want that 3 threat. So we're going to swing there and there for 3 thwarting to get rid of Breaking and Taken. We do not like the idea of leaving Breaking and Taken out. I'm going to flip, and I'm going to Amir first. Another Power of Protection onto the bottom of my deck. I know I have Embiggen left, so I can safely Teen Spirit and not hit those 4 cards I put in the bottom of my deck. And I get a sneak by. My goodness. So that's the end of that turn. We are going to pitch Big Hands, Fighting Fit, and Sneak by. I'm just ready everybody up. And draw 6. There we go. We got our Embiggen, and we are into our Fighting Fits, so we can't afford Teen Spirit, unfortunately. But we got 2 Sneak Bys in hand, so it's not too bad. He's getting 1 threat. He's going to thwart for 1, 2, 3. And he's going to draw an advance, and we're going to lose. Oh my gosh. He's going to scheme for 1. Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness. Okay. We don't want a Teen Spirit. We know that. Let's Severe Con something onto the bottom of our deck, and then maybe we can Teen Spirit. Let's throw a Wiggle Room down there and draw a card. So at this point, I think we can just win the game by flipping. So we will Teen Spirit and get that last resource. It's going to give us an encounter card and shuffle our deck. Not the end of the world. So we're going to flip. We're at 10 hit points. So we do have quite a bit of stuff going on here. We're going to use our 2 Sneak Bys to play Embiggen. And let's get some damage in here. So we could do 4 damage with our 2 allies. Bump, bump. Let's hope I didn't do math wrong. I may have done math wrong. We'll see. That guy goes back to hand. That's nice. Let's play our first Fighting Fit. And we're going to Embiggen it. So that's going to hit for 7. Hitting him down to 4. We will exhaust and return that Fighting Fit to hand. Oops, didn't mean to do that. And then we've got enough to play that Fighting Fit again. And this time it's going to hit for 5 only, but 7 and 5, 12 is enough to do to wipe the Rhino out. So there you go. We did draw advance both times we flipped down, but luckily those small boost icons in Rhino's kit really paid through for us, and we didn't have to deal with any of that Doomsday Chair disgustingness. So this is Miss Marvel Protection. It is all about getting the most out of Fighting Fit. There's a lot of fun ways to do it. You've got lots of allies to keep yourself healthy. You've got your Wiggle Rooms to trigger Unflappable and things like that. You've got Momentum Shift to keep your health up, and also Perseverance for when you're flipping to give yourself a tough so that you can stay above 10 hit points as much as possible, or at 10 hit points, so that you can be super Fighting Fit and punch the villains down dead in this somewhat aggressive protection deck. So, hope you enjoyed that. We will do another deck next week, and I still have to figure out what that deck is going to be.